Welcome, I'm Matt, and this is Highly Recommended. I'm joined today by a rising reggae-fusion artist from South Florida, Joey Calderaio.
What's up? What's up?
Since 2019, Joey's racked up millions of streams with a rich catalog of originals and covers. He's collaborated with artists like Ballyhoo, Nathan Aurora, Mihali, Karim Israel, and the best. Joey's musical passion radiates through his songwriting, production, and most notably, his live shows. Joey, alongside his band, the Future Buds, just released a visual LP, a collection of 7 live performances recorded at the iconic Sugarshack Sessions. Joey, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and like I was just telling you here in the beginning, when I started Highly Recommended, not quite 2 years ago, I was featuring artists from Florida in one of my videos, and you were one of the early artists that I talk about. So really cool to have you on here and be doing this interview. So thanks
Yeah, man.
again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, brother.
All right, let's start off with the history. So, in your own words, how would you describe your music?
Well, definitely lots of like reggae rock influence. Started playing music after I listened to like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Sublime and became very inspired by those bands and wanted to keep that reggae rock vibe, but also rock out a little bit too and stick to some of the higher energy stuff that we like playing because it's always fun to play live. So yeah, I would say like reggae rock with a twist of prog rock or higher energy music and love playing it all though, man.
You mentioned Red Hot Chili Peppers and you talked about the
hmm
reggae. Besides a band like Red Hot Chili Peppers, how else did you kind of discover this genre? What about it drew you in?
I mean, I went to the first like show of this genre when I saw you're wearing the Ballyhoo shirt. I saw Ballyhoo and Iration at a venue called Guanabanas near me. I think I was about 14, 15 years old and just seeing I think being in that live just being at a live show, I could just like feel the love and the energy of the crowd, of the bands, and just how universal the music was, connected people, and I just fell in love with just that feeling. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to follow this feeling and chase this. So, um, yeah, I've just always enjoyed music, always have always been an avid listener and appreciator of music. So I think from seeing that live show, I was pretty much drawn in and knew that that's what I wanted to do.
It's good to hear about an artist that we both like and listen to, and
hmm
um, I think everybody's sort of got like this one band or one show that sticks out to them.
Right.
So that was yours.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so you are from South Florida. I want to get into a little bit more specifics. Can you tell me where specifically you're from? How does where you live shape the music that you make and your musical career?
Yeah. I grew up in Jupiter, Florida. That's about 20 miles north of where I'm at now, which is in Lake Worth, Florida. Um, And yeah, I'm about a few miles from the beach, and that's definitely had an influence on the music. I think I write just some of the surf days, diving days with friends and blasting music when we were getting out of the water and just chilling and stuff. And reggae was often a genre that came up in our rotation, and it just seemed to fit the vibes really well. And definitely had an influence on me there. So I just think between a lot of the water sports that I did growing up and um, just being so influenced by that. My brother listened to a lot of Sublime growing up as well, and definitely like he's my older brother, 9 years older than me. Growing up, I wanted to be just like him. So when he would play Sublime and stuff, I'd be like, "Oh, what's that? That sounds cool." And that's kind of how I got introduced originally to that genre, was through him.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I'm sure this is very obvious, but how many people talk about the influence of Sublime, especially in
Absolutely.
this,
Right.
the scene of kind of all the musicians that I focus on and kind of where you
For
find
sure.
yourself. Yeah. So you had a big achievement, which I would consider, I'm sure was a highlight of your career so far, and I want to get into that more, the Sugar Shack experience that you
hmm
did. Um, so you've come a long way, in the years that you've been making music. What were some of the challenges that you faced to get to where you are today?
I think I've faced a lot of self-doubt with my music writing and still do. And I think that was probably the biggest obstacle that I continue to face as an artist is just like the imposter syndrome of like just feeling like I'm not good enough or this song sucks or these lyrics suck or whatever that things that I've written. I kind of go through these like waves of like um I very quickly like fall out of inspiration when I write music. So like I'll write a song, I try to write the whole thing, and if I don't release it or finish recording it and releasing it within say a couple weeks, a lot of times I end up falling off with the inspiration for it. Just have always struggled with a lot of self-doubt with my writing. Um, but yeah, I'm working on trying to be more accepting and compassionate for myself and when I write. And um,
So do you find when you talked about you not getting the song complete in, in a matter of weeks or something, that you lose the
mhm.
inspiration? Do you ever find that you come back and revisit a song down the road and you're sort of re-inspired, or, you look at it from a
Yeah,
different perspective?
for sure, for sure. Kind of just depends on the track. Yeah, it just depends on the song, but for sure.
And I think it's okay to, you get caught up in like a feeling or a moment where you're like, oh, this song is what I want to talk about. But then you find
Right,
that moment passes and you're like, okay, now it's not really something I want to continue to pursue. And as much as it probably is hard to let something like that go, like, because you put work into it, I think it's
right,
okay that, okay, maybe that's not where I want to take this song and I want to go to something else. So, it's
right.
probably a lot of trial and error and, building
For
that
sure.
confidence to know what you want and what sound you're going
Definitely.
for.
Definitely. Yeah, I think just like like you said, having the confidence, and as I do this more, the more confident I become with my writing abilities and stuff like that. I know it's not going to be something that happens overnight. And so it's been an awesome journey and definitely a self growth journey because releasing music is very vulnerable, for lack of better words. You're putting yourself out there, and so especially so as someone who's kind of an overthinker, definitely been times where it's hard to battle some of those negative thoughts, but it's overall, I think it's made me better, and music has just been there through so many of the hard times in my life, and I just love music so much, and I just want to keep doing this, and fills me with a lot of love and passion. So with those obstacles also comes growth, those peaks and valleys, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you know that some of these things are just things that you might be internalizing, and you can look at things that are happening, whether it's, collaborating with an artist that you look up to, or being invited to Sugarshack, or where any of the other things that may happen for you, you can look at those things as reinforcing that, hey, you're on the right
Right,
path, things are going well. So hopefully, you're kind of calm your self-doubts there.
for sure. Definitely.
Who is an artist that you listen to that might surprise people if they found out?
Damn, I listen to so much different music. Lately I've been listening to this band, Origami Angel. They're like a prog rock band. They get very jammy and have some cool breakdowns and stuff like that. I, just earlier today, I was listening to some Frank Sinatra. Um, I listened to house music, a little bit of dubstep, jazz, funk, like a little bit of everything, indie. So I don't know if that's necessarily surprising, but yeah, I like a little bit of everything. I know that's kind of the cliche answer, but um, just kind of what the mood is calling for at that moment, you know?
It's interesting to hear what you listen to, because then we kind of listen for that in the music and see if we can, do we hear that
Yeah.
inspiration coming through your music, or where those things impact the songs that you put out.
Yeah, for sure. Like I listen to like a lot of lo-fi while I'm working and just like doing the day-to-day stuff or driving. And then if I'm like before a show and I want to get hyped up, I might put on some like Rage Against the Machine and just like, jump around a little bit and get excited for that. And then, obviously a lot of reggae rock and stuff too. So kind of just depends on the the mood where I'm at in the day.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to an idea that I've talked about before, but I think that artists and musicians, and even just if you look at music in general, you can, instead of talking about things in terms of genre, it's kind of interesting to think about things in terms of like where does a song or a music piece fit into your life and the moment
Right,
that you're experiencing. So, you've got, like you said, something kind
right,
of calming and low, like the lo-fi stuff that you might need to focus. But of
right.
course, you take something heavy and energetic like
Mhm.
Rage Against the Machine to get you pumped up, and um, you might not specifically say, I like this genre of this. I just like this music for this
Right,
moment and these experiences. So,
right.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, I think a lot of people relate to that, especially if they're really into a broad set of musical styles. They have a lot of stuff they listen to
Right.
for different things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's get on to the Sugar Shack because
Hmm.
Sugar Shack is very influential into just what I listen to. I've been watching Sugar Shack for a while, and I think that's for a lot of people, it's probably a bucket list item, I would say.
Yeah.
It definitely holds a lot of weight. Tell me
Hmm.
about your experience in doing that Sugar Shack session. What impact did that experience have on you?
It was an amazing experience, one that we've been looking forward to as a band for many years. In 2019, when I first started releasing original music, I made like a vision board with all the goals of things I wanted to do over the years, and Sugar Shack was the last achievement on that list, and so finally did that last November, and so it was something we were looking forward to for a very long time. And yeah, just the whole experience from pulling up and actually being there and at the shack, it's very different than seeing it on the video because it's literally just Eddie's backyard, and it's just wild. It's very cool. Um, they've gone all out with the experience for the listeners. You know, everyone gets headphones. You get like a nice the area is very comfortable where you can sit, and everything's very high production. You get like awesome drinks and food, and then just going to once it was like showtime at 6 o'clock, and we recorded our sessions. I think we ended up recording two takes of each song, um, until we like it took a little bit to like get in the zone, I guess, because it's a very different experience than playing like a show per se, where Sugar Shack, it's very intimate vibe, um, something something very different for us, and it was very nice, very refreshing. They have such high production, good people over there, and everything. And yeah, we've been looking forward to that for a long time, so it was epic to finally do it.
Congratulations, because that is like you were saying, it's an accomplishment, something you had on your list of things that you wanted to do, and you did it. So,
Thanks, man.
congratulations. Yeah, I think it's interesting, like you just said, you're not treating it like a show where you might play the song and it turns out the way it turns out. You
Right.
actually had the opportunity to go back and do another take on it.
Uh-huh.
It's almost treating it like it's a a recording session, because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, there's the live experience that the people get when they attend, but for most of everybody else, they get to experience it through the visual
Right.
EP or LP, whatever they considered it. But they
Mhm.
get to hear it through that. So you're probably like you maybe said before, you get in your head about I want to do it well because so many people are going
Yeah.
to see this and stuff. But yeah, you're in good
100%.
hands with Sugar Shack, and they
Yeah.
make everything look amazing. So
Yeah. It was cool how they made us feel like so comfortable with, because sometimes performing in front of like a camera can just be you get in your head or whatever. But they definitely make the vibe so comfortable and just laid back. They're very hospitable to, all the amazing drinks and food, and everyone's just vibing out. So it was a good time. It's awesome.
cool, man. That is, it's nice to hear kind of how behind the scenes works. And I've talked to a few people about their experience on Sugar Shack for those that I know that have been on there, just to kind of see how they do things. And
Mhm.
at some point, I'll like to get out there and check that out myself and be one of the listeners for whoever happens to be there. But yeah,
It was a
leveled
dope
up.
experience. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Definitely suggest it.
Yeah, I don't know how long they've been doing the experience where you can attend. Maybe but it that has leveled everything up for them, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the downtown area, if you've
Hmm.
not been there, I mean, I know it hasn't been open too long, but um, that as well, it's just such a sick venue. They went all out with the sound, the stage, and kind of it's exactly like the Sugar Shack, what you would imagine Sugar Shack being a venue to be like, because it's also intimate, but also a bit bigger in terms of like the scale and everything. And so just yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, and you've performed there as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, we've been there twice.
Cool. Yeah, so besides Sugar Shack, and in the beginning I did mention some of the artists you've collaborated with. Are there any specific artists that you particularly enjoyed collaborating with and why?
I mean, man, all the artists I've worked with have been it's all been positive. I don't have anything negative to say. But I mean, doing that song with Ballyhoo, Wave of Life, was definitely like a dream. Um, just being that they were my first like reggae rock show that I've been to, so it felt very full circle. Having Howie and Don um, on Wave of Life, so that was a really epic experience, and just getting to write that with these legends and these people I look up to musically was very full circle and a cool moment. Um, yeah, Karim Israel from Arise Roots, he's just got such a beautiful voice, and have him on that track was super cool. Um, you know, um, all of the people I've worked with, man, have been so great.
You can get a sense of how some of these artists might be in person just through the music and
Hmm.
things that you've heard about them. So it's not surprising to hear that those people that you've worked with are good people, kind to you and
Right.
stuff. So how do you
Hmm.
approach those collaborations? What's the process for you working with them? And I'm thinking, in that question, what did it take for you to reach out to them and have them in mind, and how did that all play out?
I mean, it kind of happened pretty organically. I would say most of it happened like through Instagram, just messaging back and forth or building those online connections, because I don't think I had met any of the people I've collaborated with in person before those actually happened, except for Ted from Pacifier. Um, but yeah, majority of those connections just through Instagram and just messaging back and forth, um, creating like those organic relationships without like forcing it. And just over time, would I just reached out to them and asked if they'd be interested in collaborating on a track, would send it to them, and like no pressure, check it out. If be honored to have you on the song. And there was some people over the years that have said no, some people that have said yes, and the ones that have said yes are the ones that are on the album. And we do a lot of it was just through email. Like I had the song kind of laid out and orchestrated, and then had like an open verse for them. So I would send them the the track. They would record at their own studio, send over their parts. I had a producer kind of put it all together, and that's pretty much how it went down for majority of those features.
Is there anybody that you might be interested in collaborating with that you haven't yet?
Little Stranger would be a very cool one. They
Love
got
Little
a cool
Stranger. Yeah.
vibe,
Hmm.
very unique, and just talented dudes. Would love to have them on a song.
I
Stick
was gonna
figure,
say,
but
oh, Stick Figure. Yeah.
that's shooting for the stars there. I know, I'm sure that's everybody's dream, but yeah, lots of bands. Aurora Wave would be sick. Um, worked with Nathan before. But sorry, what were you about to say?
I don't know. Actually, I'm more interested in where you were going there.
Gotcha.
You do have the history with Nathan, like you said, so maybe there's a
Yeah,
follow-up feature that you could do and um, take it sort of into the heavier stuff that he's doing.
absolutely. Right, for sure. Would love that. Um, 311, I mean, I know that that's another one shooting for the stars there, but they're just so sick. And yeah, definitely any of the heavier reggae bands would be dope.
Don't ever weigh somebody out. It's like
True.
you might think that they're a heavy hitter and it's
Hmm.
impossible, but I'm sure you felt that way before you collaborated with some of the artists
Yeah,
you have done, and it's,
for
see where you're
sure.
at now. So nothing's off
Absolutely.
the table, you know.
It's true. It's true.
you've got talent when it comes to music, but what is something that you've never been good at?
I feel like speaking is not my forte. Like,
So you can sing, but
uh,
no speaking.
I'll be honest, I do have a difficult time like forming thoughts into words often. So, I feel like that's part of the reason why I play music is maybe I don't communicate as well as I would like, but
So would you consider yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert?
yeah, definitely more introverted for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, it's interesting when I hear that, especially somebody that, like you get in front of people and you perform and this and that, but always in my mind I'm always like people like that, you got to be extroverted, but that's
Right.
not always the case. So that
Yeah.
takes a lot to put yourself out there, especially being more introverted like that.
It's tough sometimes, but I love it. Yeah, it's different feeling playing music. I don't know, just being on stage and like knowing that we're putting on a show, it feels different for some reason.
We'll put you down for some shows, but let's not put you down for like keynote speeches.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, big crowds of just talking and yeah, good with that.
What's your most treasured possession? Do you have one?
I'm thinking in terms of like material, like because I got the pups right here, but that
Hmm.
they're not my possessions. They're my
No,
baby.
that's right.
I mean, I want to say my guitar, but um, it's pretty epic. It's my baby. Had lots of memories playing with my Godin. Um, I'll pull that out real quick.
Yeah, let's get a close up of that. Let's see that.
When I started playing music, I was working at a burrito shop, and um, my goal was to support myself playing live music for a living. And once I did that, I gifted myself this guitar. So
Oh
this is
yeah,
my baby.
it's
It's a Godin.
beautiful.
Thank you, man. And yeah, a lot of cool memories and hours of playing this guitar. And that might be my favorite possession right there.
That definitely an easy treasure possession.
Yeah.
That looks beautiful. That finish on it and like
Thank you, bro.
that
Yeah.
wood grain finish looks awesome.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Do you have any details that you might want to share about an upcoming album or project? What kind of things are coming that fans can expect?
So for the past couple years, I was struggling with writing original music. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to record some covers. And so I was releasing a lot of covers over the past like year or two. And I'm just finishing that up because I recently started writing a lot of original music again. So in the next few months, we'll be releasing a covers album. And then I'll be back to original music probably soon after that. Um, got some a tour in the talks this August. I'll be going up to Massachusetts and New Jersey. Um, and not too much locked in yet, but we'll definitely be doing some traveling this summer. I'm very excited to get on the road. And yeah, no, this summer I just definitely want to take some time to record a lot more music because I feel this inspiration right now to write and record. It doesn't always happen. And it's hard to force it if it's not there. So I'm trying to take advantage of this feeling while it's here, while it's fresh.
Yeah, well, looking forward to hearing that. It's nice to know that you feel inspired, currently, because like you had said before, probably you're dealing with that in waves, and
Hmm.
you want to harness that feeling and that energy when it comes up. So,
Yeah.
yeah, excited to hear what you come up with.
Thank you, brother.
Are there any new directions that you're trying to take your music or the genre? Are you exploring other things in your new work?
For sure. Yeah, I felt like throughout a lot of my career, I wrote very chill music, and I, as I was saying before, I love all different kinds of music, and but playing live, definitely the higher energy stuff is the most fun to play. It just is, and so lately I've been recording a lot more like higher energy stuff, like some almost ska kind of. And I'm very excited to play some of that music live and continuing to write some of that stuff and write and record it. I have so much fun writing the higher energy music and playing it live. It's just so much fun. So,
Yeah, I like to hear that personally. I know there's probably some people that just they want to stick with the very laid back reggae vibes, but I always
mm,
love a show that can kind of go, that bring the mood down and it's mellow, and then all of a sudden you get hit with like some
Hmm.
high energy ska, like you said, or even some punk
Right.
stuff, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you kind of bring the
There we
crowd
go.
energy up, and
Hmm.
it's fun to witness a show like that. So that will definitely help your performances be dynamic.
Hmm.
You'll have these
For sure.
options to you can see what the crowd energy is like, and
Right.
when the time's right, bring them up, and then bring them back
Right.
down. That's fun to play with, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have songs on our live set list that are chill. We have a lot of chill songs on the set list tonight. We just started adding some higher energy tunes, and we're like, why haven't we been playing more stuff like this earlier? This is so much fun. So we'll still have the chill reggae music, but rock out every now and then too, with some of the punk and ska stuff. So excited.
Yeah, very cool. Cool to hear that. Those were the questions that I had for you. So the last thing I just wanted to ask you, and this is open to whatever you want to say, is there anything you want to share with your fans?
Just want to say thank you for all the support, the love and support. We need music. It's I feel like on the hierarchy of needs, we have art on there. We need art to thrive and flourish as humans. Of course, we need food, water, and shelter and all that stuff. But once we get past those primary needs, we still need things to make us feel full and alive, and art definitely helps us do that. So. Thank you for supporting music and art, and it's a blessing. It's a huge blessing. So thank you very much for listening to the songs, for giving me an outlet to share my story, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on the channel to share that with me and to the people watching this. It was really awesome to have you on here and to get to know a little bit more about you. That was Joey Calderaio. Check out his music wherever you stream your music and go catch him live if you're in the area.
Oh yeah,
This is highly recommended. We're out here. Peace.
peace.